Greetings DCS community and welcome back to my channel. Today we're in the FA-18 Hornet and I thought I'd mix it up a little bit today, and we're not going to showcase anything from within DCS itself. However, I have not done anything recent in the FA-18 because my joystick had a malfunction with the weapon select switch. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to document in detail exactly how to replace a weapon control switch in a Thrustmaster Hornet Grip. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, let's go ahead and get started on this. Now, for this repair, I will be following the instructions that Thrustmaster had sent. However, I will also add a couple of tips as I run across them, as I think that will help you guys out if you guys ever have to replace this switch too. A few things that you'll need is an appropriately sized Allen wrench. I recommend an anti-static wrist strap, as there is a circuit card inside the grip. And then we'll also need the Hornet Grip. Now, I gotta say, this is a very high quality item that I was very fortunate enough to get for Christmas, thanks to my lovely wife, and I have enjoyed this grip tremendously. The one shortcoming, and I've read this on the forums as well, is that the weapon select switch tends to be a little hit or miss sometimes with some of the grips that they have made, and in my case, I had one of these. So as you can see, it sticks going into the forward position, or in the Hornet that would select sparrows, and as well as in the aft position, which would select guns. Not only in my case does the switch stick, it also fails to register the hits most times, so even when I go to try to select guns, it doesn't. Other than that, this grip has been a delightful addition to my flight simulation hardware. First step they want us to do is to remove the 3 Allen screws that are right here at the base, right here below the switch, and right here just forward of the weapon select switch. There's also an O-ring on the pivot pin for the paddle switch. So there's a rubberized O-ring here on the right hand side, and on the left hand side there's a retaining clip that does not get removed. I have read that some people have had issues with this because we need, after we unscrew the 3 Allen screws, we have to take off this side panel. Now this side panel also makes up 1/2 of the pivot for the paddle switch. Now this paddle switch is spring loaded, so it is my understanding that some guys that have repaired this have had this pin fall out after they've gotten this side out, and being that this paddle switch is spring loaded, it is very difficult to get back in the correct way. So in order to prevent this pin from falling out, what I'm going to do is take a piece of blue tape and completely put it and keep that pin in place. So that is going nowhere. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. No special tool, I was just able to get that off with my fingers. Let's set that safely to the side. Alright, so now we can get the side case off. Do be careful, as there is a set of wires right there for the paddle switch. So let's go ahead and unplug that from the card and set this to the side. Alright, so here's inside the Hornet Grip. Here's all the connectors for all the various switches and hats, and there's that circuit card I was mentioning before. So before I go in there too deep, I'm going to put on my my static strap. Now they do give a couple of highly detailed photographs in the instruction set, but it never hurts to take a few good close-up pictures so you can remember what goes where. Now in their instructions they want us to take all 12 of these connections out. Just be very gentle with these. Alright, now you can get the upper bundle out of the way. Again, just be very gentle. These are very small wires. Alright, so there's those circuit chips I was talking to you about. So, alright, so use that same Allen wrench. There's an Allen wrench screw on each corner of the board. Alright, set that aside. Now these screws that hold in the circuit board are shorter than the other three that held on the side case. So if you get them mixed up, just remember that the circuit board uses the short ones. Alright, move all the cables out of the way. We'll handle the card by the edges only, just so you don't put your fingers and possibly static the chips. But there is the heart of a Hornet Grip. Alright, now the switch that we are interested in right here is right there. So we got a replacement ready. Let's see if I can zoom in on this for you guys. It's right inside here. I don't know if I can get enough light down in there. There's a little tab that has to get pushed in, so you have to push it in and then forward to get the switch up and out of its hole. Push in and up out of the hole. Ooh, might have it. Nope, not quite. It does not help that they hot glued some of this in here, so you may have to go clear some of this out. Just be gentle because there is other switches that are still in here, just like your pinky switch, so you don't want to damage any of the cables. This is one thing that they do not mention in the instructions is having to remove any of the hot glue chunks that are holding this switch in. And there it is. There's the bit that was hanging me up. It was the latch on the opposite side. Alright, so let's examine the hole and make sure no debris was left behind and the hole is still in good shape. So, looking good so far. Let's see. Now, it does sit in this little edge right here. There's a little lip on the inside. And I'm hoping this shows up on a camera. Let's see if I can get the light just right. Right there. But right here, I don't know if this shows up, but there's a small gap in this lip right here, and this is there's a spot on the switch that this is the only way it can go in. Right here on this switch, right here, this little keyway right here can only fit, this little key, I'm sorry, can only fit in that one keyway in that direction only. Alright, so here's the new switch, so let's go ahead and drop it in. Now I want to be careful to push down only on the edge of the switch itself, not on the button. You don't want to put too much force on that button. And for those of you that do fly the Hornet, you know that pushing down on the weapon select switch is how you get your sidewinders. You want to make sure nothing is binding on the inside. Make sure all the wires came through just fine. Nope. You'll know when you got it just right because it'll just drop right in, and if you push a little bit of force on it, gentle now, you'll feel it actually, you'll feel those two little latches on the side actually snap in. So now if we give it a quick test, right and left, so forward, left, right, and push. And that feels pretty good. Alright, make sure the wires are out of the way, and the installation is the exact opposite of removal. Alright, so let's get the wrist strap back on. Get our circuit board and get that back in. And remember, it was the short screws that held in the circuit board. And since this is a circuit board, you only go snug. Don't over tighten this so you don't crush the board, or at least crush the corners and possibly damage the all the little sensitive little traces, the circuit traces on the board. Okay. Wow, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but I hear an Apache flying around outside, probably from the local National Guard wing. Now here's where you want to reference all your pictures that you took earlier. That way you can get your all your connectors back in properly. So let's go ahead and do that. Remember, all these wires came down and fell in this little in this landing right here, just to keep them from getting pinched whenever you put the cover back on. There we go. Ooh. I want to zoom in and show you guys this. If you notice, my paddle switch is starting to fall out of its hole. So this is exactly why we had the tape here. If this wasn't there, this would have popped out. So you want to get it back just on the inside of the edge there and make sure that your tape is still good. Because if there's one thing I don't want to do tonight, and that is to replace that. Because right inside here is where that spring goes, and I definitely don't feel like messing with that tonight. Alright, now double check all your work. You got to make sure that all 12 of those connections are right back where they belonged. Double check off your pictures and off of the pictures that are in the instruction set that Thrustmaster sends you. Now, you also want to make sure that none of these wires are going to get pinched whenever you put the side panel back on. Alright, it's looking good. There should be a washer and then that goes right there. So if you find a loose washer, this is where it goes. And I would line up this pin the first thing whenever you put the side case back on. There it is. Now, first things first, find that little O-ring and put it back on that shaft. Just like so. And then, yep, still works. Alright, now while grabbing it and holding it together, go ahead and turn it back over. Drop in your 3 Allen screws and then tighten them up. And then once all those are done, you can take that tape off, and the pin didn't fall out. And before you plug it back in and do a functional test in Windows, and then later on DCS, and go ahead and double check and make sure all the buttons are at least still functional and didn't move on during the repair. Much better. Alright, all seems good. I'll see you back when I get this plugged into the computer. Alright, so we're back in the FA-18 and with the newly repaired Hornet Grip. So we're going to go ahead and test out the weapon select switch. So we'll go ahead and master mode on, and weapon switch forward for sparrows, check. Weapon select right for AMRAM, also check. Aft for gun, check. And depress for sidewinder. Awesome. That's all 4 directions. Left is not used both within DCS and the real Hornet because it is, given its position, it is not very easy to click that low switch left. There you have it, folks. That's how you replace the switch, the weapon select switch, in a Hornet Grip. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.